What's up, guys? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we will be looking at exercise 51 of our Python exercise tutorial series. Without any further ado, let's get to it. So guys, you know, right? I've mentioned in the previous video or exercise 50 that from exercise 51, which is this video, until further notice, we will be looking at exercises in Python that deal with lists. So the main topic around which these exercises from exercise 51 until further notice are going to revolve is lists and arrays. So without any further ado, let's get to it. Exercise 51. Write a program that reads integers from the user and stores them in a list. Your program should continue reading values until the user enters 0. Then it should display all of the values entered by the user except for the 0 in order from smallest to largest, with one value appearing on each line. Use either the sort method or the sorted function to sort the list. Okay, guys, so that's that. The text prompt itself for this question is quite short, and to be honest with you, this program is one that is simple because we are going to be using, making use of all previous syntax that we learned. Like you see, since they told us that continue reading values until the user enters 0. That tells us we don't know how many values the user can enter, so that itself tells us that we are going to use a for loop. Then with regards to the list itself, we will be using methods and features that are built in Python. Okay, it's all predefined functions and methods that we will be using to help us to solve our problem. So let's get to it. First, I'm going to begin by creating an empty list. We'll initialize an empty list, call it num list. In Python, a list is it's kind of displayed or created using these square brackets. Okay, that's how we basically create a list in Python. And now we have input, the reading in of input. In our case, we'll int input because the user is entering integers. So let's kindly make a request. Please enter an integer. Okay, and within this input prompt, we can also specify 0, type 0 to quit. That's good because 0 is going to be that sentinel value that's going to prompt the decision making inside our program to kind of terminate. So a simple while loop can now be set up while num is not equals to 0. That's that. This is self-explanatory, right? If number is not 0, we'll enter the while loop and we'll continue the loop of reading input. So num list dot append. The append is a built-in method that's used in Python on a list object or an array object, and it does what it says. It adds or appends a value to the list, and it does this from the back of the list, from the right. Okay, so let's append num. Then we are moving on. Take more input. Okay, let's make this readable. That's good. Num is equal. Oh, for this, guys, I can just copy and paste our first input prompt. So that should be good. Yeah, that's good. And now, outside the while loop, we are calling numList dot sort. There's two ways you can sort a list in Python, a list or array object. There's two ways to do it. Sort or sorted, both are built into Python. Sort is a method. As you can see, we know it's a method because it's being called on an array or list object, which in our case is numList, whereas sorted is actually a function, right? Sorted is a function in Python, um, to give you a bit of insight, right? If we call this, or basically as we are doing, we are calling the sort method on a list or array object as I explained. And now what the sort method is going to do for us, it's going to rearrange the elements that's inside our list in a sorted order. Yeah, in other words, ascending order. Okay, and there is ways to get it into basically ascending and descending order. So that's a discussion for another time. That's basically what sort does, right? Ascending order by default. Now, the sort method is kind of the one that's, I would say, preferred for this specific problem. They gave us the option, right? Sort method or sorted function. And now for this specific kind of exercise though, you'll find that using the sort method is much more appropriate because there's no need for us to keep a copy of the main list. Now the reason why I say that is because sort and sorted. This sorted function creates a new object. It's a new instance, completely new object, which means if we called the sorted function on num list, we'd basically be having two num lists, the original and the sorted, right? They're completely two different objects in our RAM. Whereas by calling the sort method on an array, it sorts that array in our RAM. Okay, so it's a single, this it's basically the same. Num list, the original is still the original that's being worked with. It's just changing in RAM as opposed to the sorted, which would basically take num list, sort the elements, and store it in another list in our RAM. So I do hope that makes sense. Okay, calling the sorted function, in other words, this thing here, it does not change the original list. It creates a new object, completely new, different identifier for us, and stores this new thing in RAM. So that's good. One thing I'd like to mention, you see the sorted function, it's not completely redundant in Python, right? What I mean is that there's going to be situations in your coding journey in which you'll find it actually useful to be basically having that copy, that extra copy, in situations where you need to have the original list side by side with the sorted list. So that's, situations in which you can use the sorted function. So moving on with our little exercise. So effectively, we've sorted this list. At this point in time, the list or array that we are working with is sorted. So now they wanted one more thing from us, right? It was this. They wanted one value appearing on each line. So the way to do that would be a simple for loop. We can say for num in num list print num. That's good. So really guys, I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, num was just my temporary variable. We are used to doing I, so you can call that I if you want. It's up to you. So for I in num list, print I. And with that guys, we've effectively and efficiently coded this program for us. And now the next thing to do, would be to test this program. So let's enter integers, be sure not to enter anything that's not an integer because we did not put exception handling in our code, and entering an invalid input would cause the program to fail. Okay, so let's do negative 43, 5. I'm just randomizing these numbers. That should be good. Now I press 0 to get my values in ascending order. And as we see, negative 43, 5, 13, 14, 18, 30. So the program is one that's very interesting and it's fun. 10, let's do 3, 6, 8, 10 again, negative 1, negative 2, let's do 0. Okay, we cannot do 0 because like 0 would trigger the ending of the while loop, so that's fine. I'm just going to try and make this as long as I can. I want to see the result. In the event of having 4 million inputs though, or 2 million or 1 million inputs, it won't be feasible to have a for loop running. This program is designed for small scale inputs. So we have around maybe 10 inputs or so. Let's keep going for a few more. -6, -90. Let's do 1500, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this should be good. I'll enter 0, hit enter, and there we have it. It is sorted. Okay. The program is one that I find interesting personally. So yeah, that's that. Thanks guys for staying till the end. Thanks for using my channel to help you with your work and your improving your knowledge. So good luck with your work, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video.